Yo, what is up guys? Guido here, back again with another mini bike video. And in this video, it's gonna be a really short, easy, simple little video for you guys I figured I would make. I hope this, can help you guys out. Maybe you guys will learn something from it. And in this video, I am gonna be telling you guys how to gap your coil properly from your flywheel on your Predator 212. This will pretty much work with every motor that's out there pretty much. Although the specifications that I'm going to list in this video will obviously not be the same because this is for a Predator 212 or, a 196. Those motors are pretty close to the same. Same with, I would say, like a 224 or like a Ghost and stuff like that. But as far as your big blocks or, your 420 motors and stuff like that, your 670s or whatnot, it may be different and it may vary or whatnot. So the information and the specifications that I'm going to list may not work. But this is going to be a really short, simple little video. I'm going to just be talking about coil gap, what it is, how to gap it properly, and pretty much how to do it. It's super duper simple. So for the sake of this video, I am actually going to loosen up my coil here. I'm just going to completely take it off and then reinstall it so I can pretty much show you guys how to properly set your coil gap and, all that good stuff. So this is going to be on, like I said, a Predator 212, and on this Predator 212, it does have a billet flywheel, but it should be pretty much the same exact if you're using your regular cast flywheel. Anyways, pretty much what coil gap is it's the gap between your flywheel and your coil. Now your coil goes side to side, left to right, and pretty much the gap in between the coil and the flywheel is the gap that you have. And usually it's in thousands. So whether it's like 25 thousandths, 30 thousandths, 40 thousandths, 50 thousandths, 60 thousandths, so on and so forth. Is your gap between your coil. Now, the best thing that I always recommend people go off of is if you have like an aftermarket flywheel or, whatnot, usually they'll send you a little card that'll actually tell you what the gap of the coil needs to be. Or even on some cams, I know they will also include a little sheet of paper. I'll throw one on screen that shows the specifications of the cam and all this and that, but also sometimes they include another little sheet that tells you what the coil gap should be, just as a refresher. And with the ARC billet flywheel, the coil gap needs to be a minimum of 32 thousandths. So it can pretty much be 32 thousandths or 40, 50, 60, anything beyond. It cannot be any closer just because that is the specifications that the ARC billet flywheel goes by. Other flywheels may be different. Some other flywheels may only recommend like a 10 thousandths gap or whatnot as an example. But I always recommend just 30 thousandths is probably a good area to set it at. 40 thousandths maybe around there seems to work pretty well. And like I said, kind of just do some research, figure out, what gap is the best, what gap people are running on their motors, or go buy special, technical papers and stuff like that you get. Like I mentioned, with the flywheel, when I purchased it, it came with that paper stating to do over 32 thousandths, and you don't want to go any closer than that. Now, this is stuff that I'm pretty much just going off of that is pretty much anyone can find online. And what people are saying online with these ARC billet flywheels themselves, not necessarily with the stock ones, but with these upgraded billet flywheels from ARC, these magnets are way better and way stronger than obviously your stock flywheel would be. So that's why you need to do a minimum gap of 32 thousandths, because what I've read online is pretty much you'll burn up your coil. Now, it's kind of a hit or miss type thing. Some people say, oh, that's not true, this and that, I run it at 20 or whatever. And you have some people say, oh, that is true, I got to run mine at 85 thousandths. So it's kind of like a hit or miss type of thing. I would say happy medium, stay, above 32 thousandths. You don't want to have issues with your motor. And then the next thing is too, how big do you want to go? Now, this is a small, basic, single cylinder, little Predator motor or, off-brand, whatever. These aren't really technologically advanced. There's no sensors. There's not really anything to it with these motors pretty much. So the best that I can say is go out, experiment, and, figure what you think is the best and what's going to work the best for your setup. Pretty much the benefits of running a bigger coil gap is at higher RPMs, it will keep your timing intact. If you're running a closer coil gap at higher RPMs, it can retard your timing. And that's just stuff that's all online, of course. So, give or take, people obviously have their own opinions on stuff like that. And, there's not really any scientific, testing behind anything like this, of course, just for these Predator motors. But go and do what you think is best. I always usually set my motors to around 60 thousandths. I think that's a really good point to have it because, it's higher up there where people are like, oh, your timing will stay intact. And it's also, not too low where people are saying like, oh, your coil is going to get destroyed, So just go and find your happy medium, experiment with it. And like I said, these motors are super, simple. There's not much to it. So with all that, yapping out of the way, I am going to be setting this coil to around 60 thousandths. I might change it later on. I'm not too sure. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, how to actually achieve this 60 thousandths and how to set it properly is by using a fueler gauge. These are super, super handy. I recommend you guys buy them. They're super cheap. They're like $5 at Harbor Freight. I recommend you pick one up. It's a good thing to just have around the house and also when you're working on motors and stuff like that. And pretty much it's just as simple as looking on the fueler gauge and just seeing what the gap you need. Some of them are, not as high. So sometimes you have to double up different thicknesses or whatnot to get your desired thickness just by adding them up. It's super, super simple. And it's as easy as just putting it in between the coil and the flywheel, jamming it together and just tightening it down. And that's it. It's really, really simple. So I hope this video kind of helped you guys. I hope it kind of gave you some more knowledge or whatnot on coils and how to set your proper coil gap on these motors. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and you stay tuned for the next videos. Peace!